From the same place as trap music, this that first react music. They can't hold me back, I'm feeling good cause I'm black music. Can't nobody touch this, my flow I can't rush this. Put them on silence when I'm talking, you should hush bitch. I am from the heavy base, my bro called a heavy case. Got a couple
Good evening and welcome back to another episode of Cigar Sundays Live. Tonight, we will be smoking on the word explain. In American culture, the word explain can be observed throughout all situations and forms of communication. But we want to know, is it bad, good, or misunderstood? And before we do, go ahead, like and share this video. Also, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so when we go live, you never miss an episode of Cigar Sundays Live. I am Chef Earl Pearl at DBCHEFTV, always with the God, Ali Dawu L at BK Soul Farm. And we are the Cigarden Panel. Peace, God.
Peace, God. What you dealing with?
Let me explain.
Let me explain.
Let me explain.
See, what had happened was, right?
Yes, indeed. Let me explain to you what we're gonna do this evening. Word. But before we get into that, guy, how you been though? How's your week been?
Super productive. You know, I've been building like you know, man, like whenever you're on a farm and it's always good when the produce is producing and growing. But when you actually can build infrastructure and things that are either temporary or that are meant to last, like that whole process I like and love. Because at the end of the day, like you have something that you can use and is multi-purpose, right? Because it can be it can be whatever you need it to be, right? And it can change if you need it to, right? And I like having that flexibility. So it's been productive, God. That's what it's been.
Productive. That's what we always like to hear. It's been productive.
What's good on your end?
Everything been productive. You know, we planning nuptials and we got a big day coming up, and you know, it's a lot going on with that. I've been trying to get I've been a little hesitant because I'm stuck at a little place right now where I'm trying to figure out which trees I want to get because I want to get a couple of fruit trees. So I want to get all of them, but I don't want all the work that comes with it.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to narrow it down to two where, you know, the work will be, you know, and I can enjoy a fruit that I like. So yeah, that's what we've been that's you know what we've been doing over here, trying to figure out what type of fruit trees to buy.
you know I like that conversation.
you know, trying to explain to myself why I shouldn't buy all of them, why I just shouldn't just flood the whole, just, you know, put everything.
That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to build a food forest everywhere. Yo, man, this is needed, man. Like we need more good oxygen.
Right.
You know, the fruit is dope. The oxygen is needed.
Can't live without it. You know, the best part of waking up is oxygen. Tell the truth. Yep. So definitely, God, tonight, y'all, we are smoking on the word explain. And if you are new to the channel, what we do here on Cigar Sundays Live is we take words, phrases, sayings used in American culture, and we break them down, analyze, define them, exchange insights, talk about them, peel back layers, you know, do what ifs, scenarios. So we just take the word and look at how we even applying it, how our use of it is, and have fun with it. And we always have fun with it. And always remember, y'all, we not the gurus. A lot of these things, we are honest. We are learning these things as we go along. We bring this to y'all live, straight, uncut, you know. So it's really off the top of the dome, like our reaction to these words, our responses to these words, you know, because we're too busy during the week using the bullshit probably that we need to unlearn to get through the week, to get back here, you know. So yeah, y'all. So we usually have 3 questions that we around our word. So we're going to go ahead and get into those questions tonight for the word explain. And now, first question of the evening will be, what do you think of when you hear the word explain? Very simple. Um, leave a comment down below or comment in the chat and let us know what you think. Our second question this evening, what are some pros and cons to the word explain? And our third question this evening, what is the significance of the word explain when attempting positive communication? In the chat, people watching, you know, y'all let us know what you think. Chime in the chat, chime in the comment section. Let us know what you think. Answer to any of these questions. We're going to go over them throughout. And of course, we are going to uncover the definition of explain. And before we do that, we get to our first question. What you hear the word explain? Ali Dawu L at BK Soul Farm.
Peace. Yo, so for me, the first thing I think about when I hear the word explain, I wrote down it's an opportunity for consideration. On both parties, right? So if you have to explain yourself, or if you have to explain something, that means that it is unclear either to you or to the person that you're talking to, or the people you're talking to, or you're communicating with, and there's an opportunity for everybody to get a chance to understand each other, right? So that's what I think when I first think about the word explain. I think about consideration first. um I- and it's like, secondly, I think about the manipulation. um and I guess that we'll get into that when we talk about the what ifs and the hypotheticals, right? Because situational people could make you explain something, kind of like a power trip, kind of it's I don't know, we'll get into it, but like for me, I stick with the opportunity for consideration.
Opportunity for consideration. I like that. I like that opportunity for consideration. For consideration, because we look for all the positives, right?
Try to first, right?
Right. We try to first, but there's always the other side of the coin. So, you gave that, I will say this though, okay, so like, what does it mean to me, right? I will say the thing that what you said about opportunity for consideration, I absolutely agree with that. I think that I just don't agree with the part that is unclear, because opportunity for consideration even is considered given the explanation, right? So that's from explain. So what I'm saying is like, if I'm teaching you something, I'm explaining to you how to do it. So it isn't always it's unclear but it isn't always confusion. Sometimes the unclarity is instruction that's being given. It's not like a corrective. It's not always a corrective measure. It can be, um, it can be instructive. So that's why I was saying like the
I
person not unclear. That's the only thing I was saying, like the unclear part.
I can get with that. Um, but like so I get that from a super conscious perspective, like you said, if you're teaching, right? And for me, if you do have to explain something, like that is a form of teaching, educating, informing in my mind, enlightening.
Yeah.
Um, and the person doing the explanation is on the A side, the person asking the question is on the B side, right? So I would agree, but the confusion and comes in when the person on the B side don't know they're on the B side for real, and they don't and they don't know that you're teaching
Ah,
when
okay.
when you're explaining, right? That's what I'm saying, right? Like
Okay.
that's where the consideration comes in, where I'm asking a question because I don't know the answer, and this person is answering the question. Let me consider that they're not putting down on me, and they're answering my question. So let me potentially process it. That's what.
Right.
So that person has to realize that they're being taught. Like, you know, I don't disagree with you. I just don't
I
think.
know. I know. I know. That's what I'm talking about. It's just both. It can be applied in both. That's,
Yeah,
like where sometimes it is uncertainty and correction, and then sometimes it is instruction or for clarity.
yeah.
I mean, all of those things play a role in, I'm thinking, explaining. Like I'm explaining that to you right now. And
But I don't feel no way though, right?
but you're not
Yeah,
supposed to feel a way.
yeah. But I recognize that you are teaching me your perspective, right? You are enlightening me on. So I don't. So that's what I'm saying, right? Like, and that's why you're explaining. I'm person B, right? When I'm explaining, you're person B,
Right, no doubt.
right? Everybody want to be person A all the time, and
Yeah,
that's what makes it confusing, because if we're both person A, then who listens? And
yeah. Who listens?
right? Because, you know, how do you do that?
Right, right. Yeah, both people can't be talking at the same time. Right. So we are answering right now our first question. If you just joining us, what do you think of when you hear the word explain? And when I think of the word, when I hear the word explain, I the first thing that comes to my mind is all the many different ways people say that they ain't gonna explain shit. I ain't explaining nothing. I don't owe you no damn explanation. I don't feel like explaining it. What
Mm,
what you want me to explain that for?
mm,
What we need to even explain? It ain't even nothing else to explain.
yeah, shutting down all kind of opportunities for consideration.
Just shutting down all of them.
Just shutting them down. Yeah,
You know.
that's because they feel guilty most of the time.
Now, now on the positive side, there could be, you know, I also, what comes to mind is like, um, let me find a way to explain this. Is there any way that I can explain this to you better? Well, let me explain to you why I need that information. Well, let me explain to you what that means. You know, um, so you get both sides. You get that negative side where you get people refusing to explain, feeling that there's no need for it. We don't even need to talk about that
At all.
at all. Why you even bringing that up,
Just get over it.
right?
That's in the
Um,
past.
you know, and then it's like, okay, well, Then you have, well, I don't have a problem with talking about that because let me explain what happened. Let me explain where I was mentally. Let me explain what was going on with me. If that's gonna, if explaining allows the gaining of communication, then you're gonna need to explain something. So,
And you should want to, right? Because you should, and you should want to be clear, right? Like you should want to be upfront. Like you should like righteousness is like, that's what I'm saying. Like unless you're talking to the police, you know what I'm saying?
but if you're not, but no, hold on. I feel you. If you're
Like,
talking to the police and you committed a crime with somebody that was your partner in crime, all right, and you helping the police lock that person up or lock up anybody else that was involved in your criminal activity, yes, then that is what they technically call snitching. That's what they call telling. All right, you are telling, you're explaining to the police what happened. So
exactly what happened.
you know what I mean?
You're looking
But
for a whole lot of consideration on
you
your
know
side.
exactly. So that part of it would be considered, yes, telling, because they're violating, I guess it's honor amongst thieves and shit. I don't know. But you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, right, when you are explaining something, and like you said with the police, let's stay on the police for 1 second and then we get off them. But if you are a victim, if you witness the crime, all right, then you're not telling the police. You're not being a tattletale. You're making sure that shit don't happen to nobody else.
Yeah,
So,
no, I'm with that. I'm all I'm
you know,
saying is, right, like,
so you still have to explain to
yeah,
somebody something, or or you could just be quiet and mind your business. But then when if the shit happened to you, don't get mad.
don't get mad.
You know,
You know, I'm just saying when it comes to your loved ones and people that's close to you, and those I'm saying your loved ones, your friends, family, everybody that you care about are your loved ones. Um, and they don't want to explain something. It's usually because they either feel guilty about something, or or they feel like, or they, like something happened, like somebody feels wronged, and the other person don't want to take accountability for their actions, right? Is that what we said last week? The who threw the first punch kind of thing,
right.
right? And a lot of that is them not wanting to admit that they threw the first punch. So because once you think about it and you go back in your mind, man, I don't want to explain nothing, because you realize that you threw the first punch, and instead of just saying, my bad.
Right. And let's take it even further. Let's take it even a step further, since we on the family and friends thing. Like what if it wasn't even considered a punch? You just wanted to know, you just wanted them to explain to you like their position on a certain thing. Like you don't even want to say, you don't even want to hold, you don't even want to say like, okay, let's say they did throw a punch. And you'd be like, all right, whatever, you threw the punch or whatever. But then you don't even want the explanation. You don't want to discuss the effects of the punch. You just want to say, you know what? Why you throw the punch? What was the punch for? And you just want to get straight to that. You want to solve the issue. Why you throw the punch? I think we was talking about the accountability
Yeah.
for the other person. Like last show, we was talking about how like, I think you made a comment. You said like how both people will be going back and forth because this person is asking you, did you throw punches? But they haven't examined if they threw a punch. All right. Or they actually threw a first punch. Somebody took something that they did as throwing the first punch. So they actually was acting in response. All right. So that looks like me not doing anything, thinking that my behavior is normal. I do something and that person interpreted it as a punch, but they didn't tell me. I didn't even know. I didn't even know that they was hurt by that. You know what I'm saying?
I've been there.
Like I ain't even know. Like I ain't even know what I said or what I did bothered you that much, you know?
Yeah.
So like, but if you don't tell me that, then now when you throw a punch, I'm looking like, what happened? Why you throwing punches? Okay.
100%
So,
facts.
you know, so that's why I'm like, that explain, that person shouldn't shut down because they don't want to explain. That person is shutting down saying, I don't want to explain to you because now you didn't even know why that person threw a punch at you. So you could just want to know that. You could just want to know what you did so you can be accountable for yourself. But if you can't, if people had the inability to explain the thing, then how do you ever get to effective communication? You know, like there's a level of comfort, there's a level of vulnerability that has to be assumed when you admit that you.
That's the word right there, God. Vulnerability. So as you talking, I'm thinking about shame, right? I'm thinking about embarrassment. I'm thinking about. I watched the video on social media the other day. This young brother in the mall. He worked at the mall apparently, according to the video, and he was beefing with somebody, and they was having words back and forth, and the store employee, as Buddy was walking away, like it looked completely uncalled for. He decided to just go out his way and just juke Buddy in his neck one time, and I'm thinking to myself, like, there's no way that he's gonna be able to explain this. Like, thinking about what you just said, like, what did I do wrong to make you do that?
Right.
The only thing that he could say is the truth, and it's like, you hurt my feelings and made me feel small, so I lashed out in my reaction and stabbed you, like because there's no other reason for that, because Buddy
Yeah,
was
he
walking.
ain't cause him no physical harm.
He ain't raised his hands at you, he ain't walked towards you, like
He ain't pose a threat. I mean, other than
like,
verbal, other than saying
and
I'll
like
fuck you up if you know what I'm
you
saying.
know what
But
I'm saying?
like,
And like the stab was so, it was like a stab, like a jab, and almost like a runaway kind of thing. I'm like you won't be able to explain that,
yeah, I mean, they knew
right?
they committed a crime.
Right. But I'm saying, like, but the real explanation would be like he lost control of himself. He lost control of his goddamn emotions, right? He was in his feelings, and in his mind he had a flash of stabbing his mouth, and he lost control of his body for a second. Next thing you know, he did that.
Yeah, yeah, he seen himself doing it.
He seen himself doing it, right? And but how but who but no, but nobody's gonna forgive you for that. Nobody's gonna acquit you for that, or you're not gonna get off for that, right? That's not
Shit
gonna.
is rules. You can't be out here just stabbing people in the fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't be doing that shit. Like everybody knows stabbing somebody's against the law. You know what I'm saying? Unless you in self defense.
Unless you're self-defense, right?
Yeah. So like, come on, family. Like you know.
And that's what I'm saying, right? Like, and that's something like he won't be able to explain that at all. I don't think.
Yeah.
Like,
It's no explaining that.
you know,
There's no explaining that. I mean, the actions, and that's what we talk about. Like, well, like that's where I was saying, like, even with you could just ask somebody, why did they do that?
and
You
they will
know,
not have a good reason.
like what did you get? Like, what was your? Why did you do that? You know, like we said, like you just said, like they could come out of their body or whatever. Okay, but what if this is not the first person they stab? What if they got it? What if they, got a history of stabbing people? Then the question would be to be explain to me why you like stabbing people, because you stab more than one person. But yeah, so tonight we are discussing and smoking on the word explain. And We just got finished answering, what do you think of when you hear the word explain? Moving on to our second question, what are some pros and cons to the word explain? However, before we get to that question, we are going to pull up the definition of the word explain. Because we got to get to the bottom of this. We got to explain. Somebody explain to me what the hell is going on with explain.
You probably got some super simple definition.
Okay, so tonight, y'all, we are smoking on the word explain. We are sourcing our word from the Merriam-Webster online dictionary, merriam-webster.com. And explain is given to us in the definition of a verb, in the form of a verb. 1, to make known. 1b, to make plain or understandable. 2, to give the reason for or cause of. And 3, to show the logical development of relationships of. To show the logical development or relationships of.
This is this, and this is how you got that process.
To make known, right? To make plain or understandable. To give the reason for or cause of. Why do you like, what were we talking about? Why do you like stabbing people? You know, like why do you like that? Why do you know what I'm saying? What joy do you get out of it? What turns you on about it? What thrills you about it? You know? And that could be different things. That could be eating ice cream, eating cookies, any other things that people enjoy doing. It don't have to be something as negative as stabbing somebody.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to show the logical development or relationships of. As an intransitive verb, we have to make something plain or understandable. Okay, and then they give us some synonyms here. To clarify, to demonstrate, explicate, 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 to illuminate, to illuminate. And I heard you use that word earlier, shining light, you know, illuminating.
Mm-hmm.
Simplify, to clear up, to demystify, to make it unmystical. You know, I see you doing it. I see you like it, you know, but why you do it? Why you like that so much? That's demystify. It's a mystery to just see somebody doing something. But if you know why they doing it, then maybe it's no longer a mystery. Expound, illustrate it, spell it out, unriddle it, interpret it, get across. Elucidate, and construe. Okay. So all of these things right here, when we trying to explain, are synonymous with it. Just trying to clarify, trying to demonstrate, trying to clear up, demystify, trying to illuminate, shine some light on it, trying to simplify it. Make it to where sometimes when you explain the things, it's so it doesn't continue to be difficult.
Break it down Barney Rubble style.
You know, it isn't difficult for the person to understand it anymore. You know, they are no longer mystified about it. You know, now it's been simplified, and now they can say, you know what? Oh, okay. Damn, I know why. Okay. They might even help you. You never know, depending on the situation. They might even add to that. Let's go over here to the thesaurus and see how they give it to us. They give us the word explain once again as a verb in the thesaurus, as in to clarify, and also as in to justify. So as in to clarify, explain is to make plain and understandable. Explain yourself.
Mm-hmm. That sounds more like the justify side. Justify yourself.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't
Hey,
know. See, now that's delivery, right?
that's that.
That's just
And,
because it got yelled at you. Now it's a whole different interpretation.
and that's what I was gonna say, right? Because like depending on how it's said, it could be for clarity or it could be for justification. Or so is it the how it's said or is it how it's interpreted?
I'm thinking, well, let me not. For me, it's always the interpretation.
Yeah,
I'm always leaning towards the interpretation. I'm not worried about how it's said
correct.
because, you know, I understand people yell. I be looking for the meat and potatoes of the
what,
communication.
what are you saying?
So even if you yelling, even if you talking loud, I still be
Correct.
looking for the logic, for,
Correct.
I still be paying attention to the explain, to the clarify. I'm still trying to put myself in a place to be understandable, for it to be made plain, whatever the concern is. But we know how it go for most people. When somebody else get to yelling, another person get to yelling, don't shit get done, and
Hmm.
shit start getting a little bit more ignorant.
Whoever's loud is righter.
You know, I mean, until the person realize they can't out loud you, you know, and then you just realize the ignorance and immaturity of the situation, you know. So
Hopefully.
I mean, I do. Yeah, I don't know about the rest of these people trying to figure it out, right? So clarify some synonyms uh, to explain, clarify, illustrate, demonstrate, simplify, interpret, illuminate, elucidate, explicate, expound, construe, demystify, analyze, clear up, define, spell out, resolve, get across, specify, solve, decipher, unriddle, unravel, decode, disentangle, untangle, undo, annotate, unscramble, break it down, gloss, and commentate.
Hmm.
And commentate, trying to clarify. So now we go to explain as in to justify. And as in to justify is to give the reason for or cause of. You know? So justify we see is a trigger word because even when people go to explain things, they say, I don't need to justify nothing to you. Right?
Just justify is a trigger word.
Right. And justify becomes a trigger word because it's such associated with the court systems and how everybody, with justice and we can't get justice. So, now to give a reason or cause of is insulting. So you can
It's
ask
like,
somebody why you did something.
oh,
You can ask somebody why you did something, right? Or why you even like something. You can ask somebody why you like something, okay, that you enjoy. And they may even interpret it as they have to justify why they giving you a reason for that.
I like that, God. I'm gonna throw away my other answer for talking about shame and stuff like that. And I think what you just said is more the truth, right? Because it's almost like if when you talk about the justice system and stuff
Right.
like that, it's like, oh, you get to judge me.
Right. And that's what they feel like. You feel like you're being judged.
You get to judge me. Like, who are you to judge me, right? Like,
Mhm.
what gives you the right and authority to say that, to say anything about? Yeah,
They don't realize that it's not a judgment, like your actions have exemplified that that's what you like. So
correct.
so the person is only asking you why you
the,
like that. You know what I'm saying? Like that's it. It's
the
not
thing
a
that you like.
Yeah, like they not saying that they not gonna that they may not they not saying that they won't facilitate you doing that they won't
Correct.
join in you in doing that, and whatever, participating in that activity, whatever it may be, you know. But we got justify, rationalize, account for, attribute, forgive, excuse, explain away, condone, absolve, vindicate, exonerate, acquit, exculpate, exculpate. So that justify right there, I think, is the,
Hmm.
is why, is the negative thing that people lean on when it's like, explain.
Oh, look what they got. And I think I realize now why even further, because of the word account for.
Account.
People don't want accountability. People don't want to
Right.
take accountability. And that's
Because they
that's
may have to remember some things. They might have to scan through their brain. And
yeah,
that's taken in account.
yeah, that's taken into account.
That is taken in account. Because you have to self-reflect. You have to look at, like, damn, maybe nobody never asked you that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe you go around cutting people grass for free, right? Or maybe you go and you get paid to cut grass. Let's say you're a landscaper, you get paid to cut grass. So everybody that you meet might just be getting their grass cut. But it might be one customer that says, that asks you, why do you like to cut grass? Why did you choose this as a profession? So what they asking is, so now you might share something with them, like a story, like, um, like, I like the smell of fresh cut grass. I worked out in the, with my granddaddy or something like that. Or I like to put my hands in the dirt and work with my hands and feel the earth. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, you get something from it other than they show up, they cut your shit, and you pay them their money. So now, if you have that person, like, now you can do things. You can be like, okay, now I could say, all right, I got some trees and some stuff that I want to get planted. Do you mind doing that type of stuff? Oh no, I like doing that type of stuff. So now what I'm doing is this person, even though I'm paying them to do a service, I've communicated with them about something that I seen that they do. But now that I know that it's more to it than just I'm just doing it to get paid. Or I'm just doing it because I think it's the normal shit to do. It's just a regular norm. Like, ain't it just a part of just having a house? People need their grass cut. Like, that may be an answer too. Right? But it may be something else. But if you don't give that person the ability to explain it, if you pose the question, if you inquire, and you don't give that person the ability to explain it, like, you may not know. It may just be that relationship where they just cutting the grass, and everybody else you went through, everybody just got their grass cut, but nobody never asked you, why you like cutting grass. So that would give that person a chance to explain. And I think that it'll possibly, their relationship would be different because they have different communication than they would with everybody else who just paying to get their grass cut. Through an explanation. Given the reason and the cause of. Explain away. Vindicate. Condone. Excuse. Forgive. So even in justifies, forgiven. And forgive is not. Now, we said on the last show, we said that it was, a bad and misunderstood word. But we didn't give those reasons to put our desire to be better at forgiving. We didn't say it with that, and with that being the purpose.
That's true.
So forgiving is a positive word when you look at if it's done the right way, even if it's done in the definition way. You know, even if we remove it from the context of religion and we look at even in the definition, even the definition is trying to say, you know, not have any ill will or
Don't carry it around.
yeah, don't carry it around with you.
Yeah.
So given the reason or cause in explaining allows for people not to carry things around. Because explaining, we're not communicating if we're not explaining some things. If you ask me a question, I have to explain. If you make a statement, then you have to make sure that your statement that you're making is explained in a way or communicated in a way that can be received.
Where it don't need any explanation.
Well, it may not need an added explanation, but if somebody be like, you know, they need you to, what's this word we got right here?
Clear it up.
How we always use it. We always use it like this: expound, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can you expound on that? You know, and that's where we go from, hey, what's that? Oh, this is so and so. This is the woo woo woo. Oh man, I didn't even know nothing about that, man. Tell me some more about that. That's the same thing, just asking them to explain more.
Correct.
So yeah, guys. So now that we have looked up the definition for the word explain, let's get back to this evening's questions. So, we are smoking on the word explain this evening. And our second question of the night will be, what are some pros and cons to the word explain? And if you're watching, please leave some comments in the chat. Also, let us know what you think. What are your thoughts? Chime in. Chime in. What are some pros and cons to the word explain? What do you think are pros and cons when it comes to having to explain things?
So for me, I did have to change my answer a little bit because I wrote down an initial answer, and so my number one pro is making understanding understood, right? Like just like everything about explaining is clarity and um just more information so that you have a better opportunity to discern, you know, what you want to do, right? But for my initial con I had was being misunderstood, right? So you go to say a thing, and for me, I'm often misunderstood a lot of times, and I have to explain myself further. And I used to get upset in my younger days, like, why you don't understand me? Like I'm speaking English, I'm not mumbling or nothing, right? Like I'm like, why isn't this clear? And when I had to explain, I really felt like I wasn't saying the right words and I wasn't intelligent enough, right? Like I felt like my intellect was being challenged by me in real time. It's almost like when you think a thought and then you say it out loud and it sounds different than it did in your head, right? It's like, damn, like I should have I should have played it in my head a few more times, right? It's just different, right? Just being misunderstood was my first thing that I was thinking about, and just somebody just not getting it. What I thought about just now, looking at the word justify, I started thinking about again why somebody in a relationship would not want to explain, and the word forgiveness popped up, and some people want to hold on to their anger and to their grudge in real time, and may not want um, to forgive, right? So the explanation that you may give, or the explanation that they're asking for, they may be asking for it in vain, really, not even looking for a real reason, right? Because they're still gonna feel the way they want to feel, and they may not even care, right? So I guess that goes back to still misunderstanding, right?
Yeah, I don't know how a person could. I don't know why a person would ask about something they don't care about, though. You know, like
Not so much they don't care about, like they already feel how they want to feel, or they already got the answer in their head, and no matter what you say, they think you lying anyway, or yeah, lying anyway, right? Or you're not telling them the truth, you know.
yeah, people do that. People will have their own. They won't be genuine and
And asking their questions.
in receiving the explanation. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, they won't be genuine in that. They want to ask a question, but like you said, they already have their preconceived explanation of what it's going to be. You know, but that's why I say, like, you know, like you have to vet those things. Like you have to. I do believe it's shit that you be like, you know, like I'm not gonna waste my time with that.
that's just dumbass question. I'm like,
You know,
yeah,
like I don't see like no questions as a dumbass question, right?
I do.
I don't because it just depends on what the question is. Like if it's something that you know already, then I could see how, like, all right, it's a dumb. But you might need a refresher. You might need to, and it depend on does so and so still work like this? Okay, but like if you asking, do they still take tokens on the bus? What if you haven't rode the bus in 30 years? You know, so like somebody may say, yeah, man, like what type of dumbass question is that?
I watched a reporter on the news ask a little boy if it hurt to get shot after his neighbor shot at him through the door.
The little boy got shot.
Little boy got shot.
Yeah, then that's a dumbass question.
and his answer, like a little boy would say, who's a warrior in his mind, nah, it didn't hurt. You know what I'm saying? And I'm saying to myself, he was a kid, like he's like 7, 8 years old, like, and he's playing outside, jumping off fucking shit, and being outside like little boys do. And
So then it may not have been a dumbass question.
it's a dumbass question,
I
did
think
it
it's an
hurt?
insensitive ass question.
It's just dumbass. Did it
Yeah,
hurt to get
like it's
shot?
an insensitive question because if we talking about a child and violence and gun violence, then it's no way that person should be trying to make that
All I saw,
exciting.
all I saw was a non-black lady asking a young black boy if he feel pain
Yeah,
when
that's
he
how
get.
you framed it. Like, and
that's what,
ain't no problem with that. If that's where it's stuck at, if that's
that's
what
what,
caused if that's what caused the hurt, then
that's what I saw. I saw.
I
I'm
understand
like,
the
that's a
explanation.
dumbass question. Like, of
But
course it hurt to get shot. Like, how
but I
could it
mean,
not?
but if we remove it and we look at, if we remove that, okay, if we remove that and we just say, all right, it's just a reporter asking a child living in an area where unfortunately it's a lot of gun violence and a lot of children, then it's not the most professional question. It's not the most compassionate question, you know, but it's a question to get people talking, to get people, you know, because it's just showing a lack of empathy for anything. It's like, well, you used to being shot around here, you know, how do it feel to get shot? You know, we was around here like 5 days, you know, this week. You know what I'm saying? And everybody was getting shot. So it's your turn this week. How do it feel? You know, like, and when the shit come off like that, then yeah, God, like, you know. So
Oh
I
my, yeah.
understand that, but
It's
like,
just
you know,
insensitive. Yeah, yeah, you're right. Insensitive.
the explanation is still, you know, the explanation. You know, we would have to ask her, like, explain to us why the fuck did you ask that?
She wouldn't have no explanation. No, she probably would have an explanation. It just probably
Yeah,
wouldn't be a good one, but she probably would have one.
you
Yeah.
know. And she might look at us like, what type of dumbass question is that? And I'm asking you to explain some shit, you
What
know?
you mean? Like, I was just over here 5 days ago. Like, they getting shot all the time around here. Like,
Right.
and I want to know how you felt to get shot. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and then and you could present the question anyway. You could be like, don't you think it was a bit insensitive to ask that child, how do it feel to get shot?
Insensitive.
You
That's that's
know,
that's probably the more appropriate
because you
word.
normalizing it, you traumatizing the child, making the child be like, shit. And like you say, a young boy, he outside, young gladiator, young warrior, he outside like, shit, this shit go down. This is what I have to deal with in my community.
Like, he was outside big willing it. Like, he
So
was,
he not going,
you know what I'm
that
saying?
that that uh that mindset is already permeating in that environment. So he's not going to get in
Gotta be
front of the
tough.
camera and not show, you know, any
Yeah,
fear. He's not gonna get in front of the camera and show any fear
correct.
because he knows it's possible it could happen to him again.
Which is why I ain't like the question.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I ain't like the question either. It definitely is
So,
insensitive, but
I ain't like the question. I'm like, what?
you know, but that's like what we talking about. Those are, you know, some pros and cons to the word explain. You know, that specifically is a con to it. It's one of those things where it's like people will be in situations explain it, and then you have a consequence of, and let me not say a consequence, you have a bad outcome from the explanation. Sometimes the person don't even know it, like that. Like you just gave a perfect example. Like that child is innocent in the whole thing. Like they got shot for a stray bullet. That wasn't even a bullet that was intended for them. Okay, but then now they in that environment where they ask it, how do it feel, and they just like, shit, it's a regular part of the day, you
Right?
know. So then what does that do to the mind going forward?
Of that particular child friends, right? Like, yeah,
You know, so that's a con of it, of an explain.
yeah.
In that particular example, especially since the question was, you know, that insensitive ass question was asked to that youth. But pros are always, how I look at the pros is like, man, it takes some time learning how you affect, how it takes some time me as an individual learning how I effectively communicate, like
Hmm.
learning my communication style. Took some time, you know, perfecting it. And then it also takes patience sticking to it, reminding yourself, because you know you have your own ways of, you know, of saying things. And like you said, you know, a lot of times it be the how. That's the funny thing. Like I was on this I was in this chat, I was in this group chat, and they was explaining something. And what they were explaining what the person was explaining was something about presentation, about, personal presentation, hygiene, you know what I'm saying? So I was listening to the explanation and I was quiet, but I wanted to ask the question, like, who is that for? Like, who is that for? Like, that can't be for me. Because I don't remember the last place I went where my hair wasn't brushed and and I wasn't sharp. You know what I'm saying? Especially if it was somewhere that I had to be there, that I was supposed to be there. I'm there on purpose. Not just catching me in the street somewhere, running errands or going back and forth to Home Depot and Lowe's and shit like that. Nah, like, but if I'm supposed to be somewhere that we supposed to show up and look good, like, I don't have a history of showing up looking raggedy and shit. So, I had to listen to the explanation, but I didn't get to ask a question on who that was for.
Like, why are you saying this?
Yeah, like what? Like, damn.
Yeah.
So it just opened my eyes to some things like this is, I don't know if it's, I don't know, people don't realize, like, I don't know if this is a space I belong in, like this, like functioning like this. So,
I could think of a bunch of con scenarios. So not a bunch, but like I know I don't like, and it falls in line with the what explain as far as justify. And I mean, you see those videos where somebody's like, fishing in a canal or fishing in a lake or something like that, and somebody, a resident, will pull up on them and start asking these people a bunch of questions and start making them explain themselves. I don't like that.
They call them Karens.
Karens and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
I don't like that. Like I get the resident seeing something and saying something, but I think once they see something that they find to be suspect, they should go report it to the security or whatever and let them handle it and go from there. But to sit there and engage this person that they don't know, that could be a homicidal maniac, pretending to fish, just using fishing as a way to lure in his next victim. And here come Karen talk about, I want to be next. You know what I'm saying? And now she get what she get, talk about, oh my God, he did this to me. Right? Like, but the people that be explaining themselves to these Karens be blowing me. I'm like, I don't get it. Right? Like they actually be taking the time and explaining themselves instead of either calling the police themselves or telling those people to call the authorities, right? Like, I think that's a con, because that's definitely a who are you to justify, like, who are you to make me justify anything to you just because I'm here and you're a resident.
Right.
How do I know that you're a resident?
How do you know that they're a resident? You don't know that. You don't know that.
There's not like I don't have a resident badge or you know what I'm saying, plaque on my car.
I mean, but like, not even in defense of the current, because I hate them. I hate them people that do shit like that too. But at the end of the day, like, those the excessive people, right? Some people do know everybody who in the neighborhood because they sit in the window and watch every damn thing. So you have those people.
Yeah,
They just ain't inflicting, negative energy on everybody in the community, but right. they are people who are very observant and pay attention to everything that's going on, because they just, somebody might say they suffer from extreme paranoia. Somebody might say you just alert about your environment. Somebody might say you nosy as shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it could be, the picture could be painted in so many different, colors. But
If you walk up on the suspect that you think is dangerous or doing something wrong, and you are not law enforcement, unarmed, by yourself, I think you are fearless.
I think you are fearless, right? Ain't no need to explain.
You need to explain
Ain't no
that.
need to explain actions, the actions, and that's what we was going about earlier. That the actions are reflective. So, like, if you doing that, right? If you're a Karen, and that person keeps on approaching people and asking people, then I'm inclined to ask Karen, what do you like about approaching people?
You know,
You know what I'm
and
saying? Like, what do you like about that? About confronting people all the time and getting that, like, well, do you
great,
like the response? Do you like the
great word,
do
great
you like
word.
the interaction? Do you like the, the them the thrill that you're gonna call the police, or that they may try to harm you? You know what I'm saying? Like, because you walking up on anybody and you don't know what their response may be, you know?
It's kind of crazy.
So that's why I'd be like, those things are the things that people don't hold themselves accountable to, like, explain to themselves. That's what we talking about, the self-reflection. If Cameron looked at it, Karen might say, damn, I do like, nagging the shit out of people and going to go being nosy and policing my neighborhood knowing I ain't got no badge, you know? So they could say they do like that. And then it's understood, especially if you live in the community and you see that person all the time. Collectively, people would then, like, assign that role and be like, hey, watch out for Miss Karen, because she telling on everything around here. If somebody seen it, she seen it,
Hmm.
because she nosy as shit. That may be the sentiment, you know. I think once again, when we see these things with the black and the white, when we see when it's opposite races interacting, it triggers more of a thing than like if it was two people doing it that look the same complexion, like, when nobody give a shit about it.
So you know what I was, you know what, God, like, so I'm sitting here thinking, and the videos of the latest Karens that I've seen that have bothered me have been same race is the word, same race people, right?
Yeah, I seen
Yeah.
that. I seen that joint in Florida though, where that girl told that dude to get out to stop fishing though. I seen that one. That was black and white.
Yeah, that, no, that was black
That
and
was,
white.
yeah,
That was black and white.
that one
But
specifically. I don't know
yeah, that
about
was
the new ones.
that was, yeah. But I see what with this old, like, I see I see this video, man. Like, they got a bunch of Karens just doing some Karen stuff where they literally aggressing people, and then pretending like the person attacked them, falling down, rolling. Lady walked up on a guy, went to go take his phone, and he reached back, told my lady, "Stop! Don't reach for me." She grabbed her eye, talk about, oh, she fell on the floor, rolled over, and said, "You killed me, you killed me. I'm calling the police." And I'm like, now these people, they should not ever be allowed to claim self defense. Like, they are like the most aggressive, like
Yeah,
like the whole I was scared. I watched this old lady, like, she kicked this dude and then said his dog bit her. And I'm like, damn. I was like, imagine the police showed up for real and shot this dude dog, right? And it wasn't like I said mixed race. It was a lot of, same. That it was just people are just awful.
yeah. So, like, another thing that we seen that was in the media, we covered this on another show we have y'all on Wednesday nights at 8:30 p.m. brunch with the fellas on DBCHEFTV network. Make sure y'all check that out. But we was talking about Kanye,
Mm.
and Kanye had said, he made a comment that um, when he met his ex-wife, the mother of his children, that in 2 months he realized he didn't want to have children with this woman.
In 2 months.
In the first 2 months, he realized he didn't want to have children with this woman. But he said that it was God's plan. So I'm like, okay, so God told you to keep smashing. Okay. So if that's the case, now, we just using it as an example because Kanye was explaining something, right? And sharing what he going through or whatever that is about. But I'm looking at it like this. All right. Taking the responsibility is saying, I didn't want to, but I did. That's taking accountability because you kept on going.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that's fair. We don't knock that. We don't knock you for that. But to negate the fact that you liked something, okay, so that wasn't a deal breaker. So I could say, well, I didn't want to have kids with you, but I like having sex with you. So if I like having sex with you, then I'm dumb because I know, you know what I'm saying, that I like having sex with you, I could get a baby.
Yeah.
So that's why it kind of like his explanation was just like, all right, bro, whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? But
And his explanation, like once you throw God in there, right? All reason go out the window because it becomes a spiritual answer.
oh, so that's the point of people trying to throw God in something?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that. I didn't
Yo,
know because you're not supposed to question God.
yeah.
But
So
then what if we say we're not questioning God, we questioning your actions? But because God made you do it, then you can't ask, then you don't have then you can't explain the reason for your actions. Just God made me do it.
so my son sent me a thing today, right? He went to church and he had a question and he sent it to me and it was I'm gonna read it. It's 1 Corinthians 2:14. It says, "But the natural man does not receive the things of the Spirit of God, for they are foolishness to him, nor can he know them, because they are spiritually discerned." Right. And he was like, "Daddy, like I'm looking at that, and the pastor got it up on the TV screen, and he said it was just bothering me, and I'm seeing something completely different from everybody else, and I don't understand." And I'm like, "What you're seeing is not crazy." I'm like, "Let's look at what it says. The natural man does not receive the things of the Spirit of God." Right. The natural man don't need the things of the Spirit because they are living in the natural world and they are receiving all of the blessings of God, right? Period.
All
Right?
of
It says further, it says they did not receive the Spirit of God, for they are foolishness to him. He's like, yeah, like you talk about some spooky stuff, what he said, the pastor asked him, if when he dies he gonna go to heaven. And his answer was like, I don't know. I'll see when I get there.
right.
Right. The pastor goes to proceed to explain to him, let me show you how to get there to ensure that you get there. And I'm like, see, like that's crazy. Right. Like, like, like he talking to you about some stuff that happens to you when you die and has nothing for you right now. Right. Because the natural man is not focused on some spiritual non-existent stuff. So that's what I'm saying. Like when Kanye say when they invoke God, right? God had his plan for me or whatever. He's taken away any like it's spiritual now. So you can't question, like his explanation is what it is. He don't need to have any facts. He don't need to have any reason, any rationale. He put it into the spiritual world and he'll deal with that after he died.
Okay, that's fine. That's all good. But don't sit up here and say, you know what I'm saying? Don't sit up here communicate it like it was a regret because you kept going.
Yeah, that's
No,
what they
no,
do though.
whether because okay, but now you're sitting up here crying and complaining about, and this my response to that, right? Now you sitting up here crying and complaining about a choice you made that you said is so spiritual that God did it, and and God was ordained it and everything. So now, is it safe to say that God ordained the situation for you to be in, going through it now too, after that? Or was now that his responsibility after God said, okay, go ahead and do this? Now, is Kanye the reason for the fuck up? Well, for his situation being fucked up the way he describes it, and I say it's fucked up if the man is being denied from seeing his children, and you know that stuff is going on, we feel like he can't be influential in their life or whatever. Okay, but who fault is that though? If God told you to keep going after you realized that you didn't want to have children with this woman, then now this is not punishment. This is your learning lesson from that experience.
Yeah, so the natural man would say everything is everything.
Yeah,
So
like this yeah, like this is just a process. Like this what you want. It's a result of your actions.
but the spiritual person, right, that's invoking spirit, would separate
Was separate what's really going on from
you know,
I'm
like
confused.
that was the devil, and this was the God. This the God part, right? That was when I was in my wicked ways, and I was acting unconsciously when I was doing things when I knew I shouldn't. That was evil. But now that I repented, which is the regret, I can acknowledge that.
Man, that's crazy. That's crazy right there. But look, let's
So
let's not let's not make it
what's
about Kanye. Let's not
yo
make it about
yo
Kanye though.
nah son, what's crazy, God, is like you brought that up, and I received this message today, right? And that's so funny.
Yeah, I mean it's relative. It's definitely relative. But I'm like, let's not make it about Kanye
Yeah,
though. Let's
yeah.
let's let's generalize. Let's go a hypothetical, right? We having some fun tonight, y'all. Tonight we smoking on the word explain. Make sure to like and share the video. Also subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so when we go live, you never miss an episode of Cigar Sundays live. Right
Wow.
now, you rocking with DBCHEFTV and the God Ali Dawu L at BK Soul Farm. And we gonna we smoking on the word explain, y'all. We're gonna turn up a little bit. So let's take a scenario.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say, because this is a real life thing, all right, but I'm not going to talk about the names of the people
Okay.
involved, but they didn't put it out in public. They didn't put it out in public. All right, like they live their life like that. We in shit. Wow. But what if a guy was going to marry an adult film actress, aka a porn star?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so the guy says, "I'm going to marry this adult film actress." Is that guy wrong for asking that woman to explain to him if she's done with doing porn, and also if she possibly might like feel like doing porn again? Is that something that they should be? Is that a conversation that they should have in that situation
So for me, I think that the fact that they getting married is crazy without having that conversation first.
without having that conversation first, right?
Yeah, like how do you
Okay. But that's what I'm saying. Like before, it's before.
yeah, like yeah, you gotta have that conversation. Like how
It's
do you
before.
like how do you get a partner and not care about what your partner want to do? Right? Like how can it like they literally are like you guys are each other's partner. Like that's not just your partner and they're there to help you and everything. Like you guys are both there to help each other, right? Like to make so that y'all can have a fruitful and productive life. Um,
Right.
so for me, I'm all about discussing everything. Like I want body counts and everything. Like, did I know any of them cats? Right?
But
Like,
I mean, like you could turn on the TV and watch this.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like
okay,
for this hypothetical, like this person is a porn star,
yeah. Like
right?
I don't know who you're talking about, but yeah,
You know, like the person is a porn star. So I'm saying, so like if you're a person that watch porn, you could actually go and see your wife, or
yeah.
you know what I'm saying, your future wife or whatever.
Eh, eh,
You know,
and the thing is, right? Like in my mind, if she's currently a porn star or has been a porn star, and you knew that or know that, um, like and I don't know, like it seems like
would it be wrong to ask her what she like about doing porn? Do you think that that would be an offensive question to marry? You marry somebody and you see them doing it, so it's like, okay, you do 3 ways, 4 ways, this
to
way, that way.
me that's like a first date question. Like
It's like what you like about it though, right? Because you enjoy
yeah,
doing
like
it. Like
because
you,
because again, like so if say like let me take myself, right? Let's say I meet somebody and I like that person off just physical attraction, and I say, you know what, I want to get the opportunity to get to know this person, and let's go out, let's chop it up, right? We go out, we chop it up, and I find out that this person is a porn star. Dun dun dun. All right. At that moment, I get to decide, do I want to date a porn star or somebody who was a porn star, somebody who is a porn star? Like, do I want anybody to know? Like, would I be embarrassed by that? Like, at that moment, it's on me to make a decision, right? And if I decide to go forward, then I shouldn't be embarrassed about anything that she has done
right,
or will do
or
because
will do.
because
Mm,
bec- because I'm accepting her, right? Because she might want to just
relapse. She might
not
relapse.
not relapse. She might just be a porn star. She might just want to do porn. Like she might just be a porn like like actors act, right? So she just might she just might go to work. Like you know what I'm saying? Like
Ah, okay. So she might just go to work. But okay, so that's fair. That's fair. She might just go to work. That might be her job. I get that. You
now,
know.
but if she told you she was gonna stop,
But no, but what if she go to work? I like that. Let's say she
yeah,
go to work, right? So now she go to work. So that means she working on other people
she at work.
outside.
She
Yeah,
at work.
as outside of working on the house. Okay.
She at work, yeah.
All right. So then that would validate the question even more.
Which
What
is
do
why
you like about it?
which is why I say that's first date
Yeah.
question, right? Like that's early on
Yeah.
before we even get to even yo, I think I'm in love. Like no, like I done watched this video and my homeboy done told me like yo, I seen your girl, and I'm like, yo, son,
or no, or like you said, a homeboy know somebody or something like that. Like,
right? Like
yeah, man, like that's pretty bad.
how does that make me feel knowing that everybody done seen, everybody done know, and and in my mind, if she was a porn star in the first place that you knew of, right, and you bagged her, like if she was a retired porn star, like let's say
A retired porn star.
I'm gonna take an old school, like let's say like a Have a Hunter or something like that, right?
Okay,
Like,
old
uh,
school. You dug way in the
'cause I'm
bag.
thinking like retired, right?
Retired, right?
Like old school, um, and you meet Heather Hunter in the mall tomorrow and y'all vibe and you bag her,
Hmm.
right? She was a porn star, right? But she still is Heather Hunter,
Right.
right?
But you would think in your
She's
brain, she like all the stuff that you seen done. If you watched her film, you would think, or if she told you that's what she did, then you would think like, okay, you must like that. You know what I'm
but
saying? So
but
what do
but
you
you
like about that?
but you would also think that she wouldn't be doing any more movies because she's retired when you met her.
Yeah, of course. But that's the future. We not that's the yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, so when you
Yeah.
so again, two random people in the mall and y'all just meet, like, oh snap, have a hunter, right? And y'all vibe, y'all go get some coffee or whatever, exchange numbers, and one thing lead to another conversation, boom, like, yo, I'm feeling you.
Right.
I'm saying, yeah, you know she have a hunter. You might be bragging to your friends like, yo, I bagged have a hunter, but you are not thinking that Heather Hunter's gonna make any new movies.
Yeah,
And
of course
and
not.
and if Heather Hunter made a new movie, that probably might break you because you didn't marry a porn star. You married or you fell in love with
A retired
a
porn star.
retired porn star, somebody who did that before. But if that person was to relapse, that might be a deal breaker or a change of conversation versus somebody who's an active porn star that you fell in love with that you're trying to change because
That they trying to change.
like you trying to like she like you met her on the pole and because you fell in love you said, girl, I could change your life to come home with me, right?
Right.
And now you don't want her to do the pole no more, but you also not putting $2,000 in her pocket every night either,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So it's like you
Yeah.
want to change her life, but not considering her situation, right, and how she was living, right?
Right.
You just saw the sex part and not actually think about her actual livelihood, right? Because like I said, a porn star is an actor, right? So when they go to work, they're going to work. They're going to make money for themselves and their family, for the most part, I think, right? I'm not talking about the sex slaves and stuff like that.
No, we talking about a porn star. We ain't
So,
getting
yeah,
into no illegal action, you
yeah,
know.
talking about adult
Yeah.
video, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, because like, we was talking about Kanye earlier, and I don't consider Kim Kardashian a porn star at all.
correct,
I think she did a pornographic video.
yeah, one, right, yeah,
Yeah, just one. You know what I'm saying? But I wouldn't consider that she makes a living off of
correct.
porn. So that would definitely be a porn star. But guys be in that situation. I know of a podcaster that has a similar situation like that. And I always wonder, like, do you ask how does one explain certain things from their behaviors, you know, and relative to the question that is presented, especially if a person have a past that is questionable, or something that you just want to. I'm thinking like shit. If it was a porn star, I'm like, I want to know what you like, because you know what I'm saying. Like, come on, like you dating a porn star. Once you find out, you like, oh shit, this get ready to get real freaky.
Until she tell you that shit was all work and scripted, and she don't like none of that stuff, right? And she was like,
That's
and
crazy.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
that'd be crazy.
like, cause like that's what I'm saying, right?
That'd be crazy. You know what I'm
Like
saying?
all that all the oohs and ahs is scripted, right? Like all that stuff is, and then she
Bro,
don't like
you can't get up and go to work
it.
and do work every day and not like something.
You like getting paid. I go to
Nah,
yo.
but you gotta like something else too. There are some other things. The pay ain't, because I mean shit, if porn stars ain't getting that much money. Like I don't know. I don't know personally know a porn star, but now OnlyFans, like they've taken it to another level. So girls getting paid. But when we talk about them traditional porn stars, like unless it was those girls back in the day, all of them seem like they still trying to, turn tricks and shit.
Yeah, but they probably mostly had poor money management skills too. You know what I'm
Man. He just say they need to explain the reason why they ain't got their money. That's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? Like I
But
don't know, but I was just just in reference to, in reference to fairness, right? I think that again, people need to have more conversations, um, uh, to get to know the person that they want to be with, and it's unfair to have an expectation and keep it to yourself for your partner, right? Like it's different to keep your expectations to yourself for strangers or passive buyers or people that you're gonna even acquaintances that you're gonna do something with temporarily, but to keep a secret expectation about somebody that you're dealing with on a regular is totally unfair.
A secret expectation. Yeah. And that's where you don't communicate, your question.
So you don't want
And
to explain yourself.
yeah, or you don't want to explain yourself, you know, when a person has communicated a question to you and it's just like, nah, I just rather stay private about it. Yeah. That's tough because then that makes the other person think as though like, well, it's certain things you can't talk about, you know.
If they're logical and rational and not emotional.
Yeah, even in a logical form, like even in a logical form, you can say, okay, well, I understand like those things we can't talk about,
Hmm.
you know. But people have a problem with that though, because if you say, okay, well then now I understand this shit that we can't talk about. When you're supposed to be in a relationship where you can discuss everything, then it ain't that. And that's an eye opener, you know.
unless you can
It don't
accept unless you
yeah,
can accept that there are things you just can't talk about, right? Like
yeah. That I say it's an eye opener. I ain't say it's a
yeah,
deal breaker.
it's definitely an eye opener, right? And that's
Yeah, it's an
that's what I'm
eye
saying.
opener.
Which is why it's important. Which is why at least why I think that it's important to talk about all this stuff early before it gets too serious, right? But like 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 I be wanting to put on your face for the first day. What did the sister say? Like
What
what
you say?
6 months of before you show somebody your real self or something like that. I think that's what Jazz said. It was like a long time of faking it before you actually show somebody like your real.
Yeah, I think she said it's about 6 months or 8 months or something like that.
It's like like you know fell in love with a whole stranger because once you show your real self, you might be a completely different person, right? Like it,
Right. They might realize like you a bum. You ain't ambitious.
and
You don't
yeah,
got nothing going on. You don't have no
because
desires. You communicate poorly, but you got good sex though.
you got
So I'm
good
gonna
sex,
stick
right?
around. So I'm gonna stick around for that as long as I can until I get tired of that. And people won't even admit to themselves that's what they do. You
Yeah,
know,
that's
they,
what I
they
mean about them secret expectations, right? Because there's an expectation that after these 6 to 8 months or whatever, I'm gonna show you who I really am, and you're gonna still love me anyway.
people do that shit for 2 or 3 years,
Two or
trying out
three
some shit.
years trying
Yeah,
out some shit,
yeah,
decades trying out some shit.
trying out some shit because they scared. Because like you say, scared to have conversations and explain, like be vulnerable. Like that's the way I see it. I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm vulnerable. Like, thank God neither one of us is married to no ex porn stars.
for real.
Shout out to wifey. You know what I'm saying?
I
But you
couldn't
know,
handle
yeah, but,
it.
but I'm thankful that that we have that communication where it's just like, man, ask me anything.
Yeah,
Like talk to me about anything. I don't care. I worry about my feelings later on. You know what I'm saying? But just knowing that nothing is off limits
yeah.
is
I don't like secrets.
is
Um,
is comfortable. Is a level of respect that we share, mutual respect that like ain't nothing for no off limits. You're supposed to be your best friend.
I think a lot of the times too, we shy away from explaining ourselves, not so much because we don't want to, but because we may not know how to, right? Like I think the first person that needs the explanation is you yourself, right? You need to be explaining to yourself why it is that you like a thing, why it is that you are doing a thing, why it is that you have this inclination to stab somebody, right? Like why, right? So that when somebody asks you the question, you have an answer.
You may not have been prepared for it though. You may have just been stabbing people and just doing it so casually, and nobody ever asked you. Just like we talking
Eh,
about the cutting grass, you know.
that's why I say like the first person that you got to explain it to is yourself, right? Like you
Yeah,
come into reality because you're just doing stuff and don't know why. That's crazy.
just thinking that it's a natural part. Like, oh, I'm supposed to do this.
I'm just posting,
You know what I'm
right?
saying? Like, nah, you
And,
ain't supposed to do it because there's other people who ain't stabbing people. It's other people
no,
who ain't cutting
and
grass.
and what I think is a lot of times people don't know how to explain themselves properly.
Mm,
Like they may want to explain themselves, but may not. Their explanation may sound crazy to them in their head, and it may sound like you know how when somebody's saying something to you and because they might start stuttering or something like that or start talking fast or using big words, just like man, you sound like you bullshit, right? Like
I don't
I,
do that, God. I don't do that.
nah, but like it's like
And
a
I know who be bullshitting though. You know what I'm saying?
that's what I'm saying,
Like,
right? That's
and like, and if I'm entertaining bullshit, it's cool. You know,
no, but what I'm saying is
I'm trying
that's
to have a real
like
conversation though.
just like when somebody's bullshitting. I think that people that don't know how to explain themselves properly feel like they're bullshitting and people are not going to take them seriously because they're not able to explain themselves properly. So instead of saying give me some time to think about how to answer that, right, or saying let me give it my best shot or tell me if this makes sense to you, you know, they they go on they go into turtle mode and you know,
Turtle mode, pop back in the shell.
pop back in the shell and it's I ain't gotta explain nothing to you. Like if you don't get it, then you don't get it, right? Then
Or why you need to know that? Or why?
why you need to know that? Why you
I,
even asking that question?
right. I don't
Right.
need to explain myself to you about that. Like, that's why I said
Yeah.
that's the first thing that comes to me when I hear the word explain. Is like the difficulty that people have in valuing,
Yeah.
you
Think
know.
about when somebody get caught cheating, right? They like, you know, if you went through your girl's phone or your girl went through your phone, the question is, why'd you even go through my phone in the first place?
Mm-hmm.
Right? I think that's a real question because like why did you go through the phone?
Shit, because like whatever your explanation is because I don't know. I thought you might be cheating. You know what I'm saying?
And
Or I ain't know if you was doing anything. I was just going through it just to go through it, just because you can go through mine if you want to. My shit open.
and my
You
and
know
my
what I'm
point and
saying?
my point is like folks don't
So
be having answers for real, right? Like they don't be
yeah,
liking their answers, right? Like because they we worried about feeling we worried about being labeled insecure. We worried about being labeled toxic. We're worried about being labeled, uncooperative and non-team player and stuff like that. Like it's and really like all that stuff go away if we really just had was just more honest with ourselves first and took a breath or took a second to answer a question.
right. Like
Just
I know I ain't supposed to be liking this chick pictures like this and making these comments and shit. And I know if my wife seen this, she'll be like, "Why you all on this girl page making these comments and shit like that?" Like,
if she cared,
if
like
she cared, like,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
and then but once you realize that she care, then whatever your explanation is, the thing from that moving forward is to not do that shit again. Now, if you keep on doing it, then you ain't give a shit about how it made the other person feel, what they thought about it, their concern or nothing. And you just like, fuck it, I'm just, or if you try to go do it on some back chat shit, like, I will, I ain't gonna follow this person up
On
front, but then you know what I'm saying. But then they could still DM me and shit like like man, you playing games and shit.
yeah,
You know.
yeah, and
So now that is malicious. That's you are intentfully trying to hide a relationship with another person, possibly of the opposite sex.
that a relationship that in real life may not even be a relationship to you. Like you really might just be having fun and playing on the internet, right? Um, but scared to say that.
Yeah, just scared to say I like the attention of what I get on it. Like if it's girls like I'm, oh, babe, I just like the attention they get and they think I'm handsome. But you could check, but you can look at my messages because they have deleted messages. You see what I'm saying? Like deleted, you can pull up deleted messages,
Correct.
so it's like ain't nothing hidden once if a person really need to get access to it,
Correct.
so that's why it's like don't do it.
Correct.
Don't do it. Be considerate of the person that you are with. And
I'm anti going through people's stuff anyway. Like I'm of the mindset that if you think your person is cheating, then you should act as if they are.
then you should
Right.
act as if they are. but,
Yeah,
but that's not
because
going through their shit. That's not as
no,
acting
no,
of
no,
going through
no,
their shit a
no.
part of acting out.
I apologize. Meaning, when I say act as if they are, you should do whatever it is that you would do at the end right now. So if you're gonna leave, then you should leave. If you're gonna stay, then you should stay.
Even if you don't know whether they cheating or not.
Don't matter. Because if
Why
you think
why is
because if
that?
you because if you thinking it, then they are right. Then your relationship is already compromised, right? Rather
I don't
like
know. No, I don't write that. I don't agree with that. You know what I'm
you
saying?
if you think your partner's cheating on you, you got feelings that your partner's cheating on you.
I don't know, God. I don't know. I don't know because I look at it like it's
Why do you think?
situation.
Why would somebody think somebody's cheating on them if they don't feel like they cheating on them?
Because they could have had some type of behavior. Like it couldn't be and it's just speaking from
Mhm.
from the other side of the coin,
Yeah.
like like it could be the behavior. It could be their behavior. They could not actually have went and cheated, right? Did the act of cheating, but you could see some things, like you said, you've seen them signs of, you know, uh intimate nothings online, oh, it's nothing, right? But it's communication.
And
All
if you
right.
need and if you
So
need a verification, that's what I'm saying, right? Like if you
but
needed
you
to
have to ask though. Don't you have to ask and allow that person to explain?
I'm
Because we
saying,
because we talk about somebody that's in a relationship. We ain't talking about somebody that's just
and that's why and this is me, right? I'm saying that if you thinking it already, then your thoughts are way worse than reality in most cases,
if you
right?
thinking it already, then your thoughts are wayward. So what you saying is so what you saying is if you thinking that she cheating, then she probably having orgies.
I'm saying it wouldn't matter if she wasn't, right? Like you hold a little bit of bitterness in your heart when you deal with her, when you think about her, and it may that little bitterness may open up a door and give rise for your reason to step out and cheat back or do what you really want to do in the first place, right? You was looking for an excuse, right? Who knows? All I'm saying is,
No, that person may not have been looking for it. See, and all that's what I'm saying. Like that's why I can debate it. Because I'm like, that's why I could debate the other side of it, because they may not be looking for an excuse to cheat. They looking for to find out if that person is cheating or not. If
why?
if there's any if because maybe they have a sign. Maybe that person is insecure. Maybe they had their own insecurities. Maybe
And
they've
that's
been
and
maybe
that's
they've
what
been
I'm saying.
maybe they've been cheated on before,
And
right?
that's what I'm saying. And
You
if
know, so
and if they have those insecurities, right? I'm saying, what are you going to do about them, right? Like what? Because so you ask this person, you go
so
through
now
this.
you saying what you gonna do about them.
right?
because
Like,
before it
'cause
was I'm going already just cancel Christmas and that's
yeah,
gonna be it. I'm just gonna move
that's
on.
what I mean. That's what I mean by
No,
what
so
you gonna do
you
about it. That's like you gonna leave or you gonna stay, right? Because for me, if you gonna stay,
yeah.
staying don't-
So what
staying
does the
don't
state look like?
staying don't mean just quote unquote forgive and forget. Staying means whatever you got to go through to stay, right? If it means yelling and screaming, if it means therapy, if it means going to church, if like whatever staying look like for y'all, you're gonna stay. But if you're gonna
Right.
leave, right? I'm saying there's no need to go through phones, cut up clothes, set things on fire, bust out windows, right? Yell and scream, make phone
I
calls.
mean, if
Go to,
look,
go to,
before you
go
get to that point, you done
I'm
already
saying,
had shit like that, bro.
I'm saying that,
You
and that's what,
before you get to that point, you done already had shit like that. And
and
that's
that's and
and
that's
then
what
the
I'm
cheating
saying,
is just probably a normal process
and that's why I'm
because
saying,
the
like,
other person probably done cheated. You get what I'm saying? Like already. So that's what I'm saying. Like if it's built up, I get it, God. If it's built up from a negative inception, yes. You know,
I'm not
if it's
going through
built up
nobody's
from a
phone.
negative inception, yes. But you know, I don't go through nobody's phone either. That ain't my thing either. But
That's crazy.
at the same time, if you do go through a person's phone, if y'all do have the type of relationship and you do go through each other's phones,
I
then
do.
what I'm saying is that that person may not be looking through the first person's phone looking for that. They may just have access to the phone. They scroll across something, they see some shit, and now they inquire. They ain't looking for you to,
I see what you're
yeah, they
saying.
ain't looking for that person to be like, oh yeah, I'm cheap. Because most of the time that person gonna lie anyway if they get confronted. You see what I'm saying? So it wouldn't even be like you would know then. You would just see some shit, and that could spark it. You could have nothing else going on. You was just flipping through the phone, probably trying to find somebody's number to surprise that person, right? To surprise your other partner, whatever the situation with the relationship looking like. And then you see some shit and you're like, what the fuck is this? What the fuck? Oh, this some bullshit. Damn, I was just trying to get a number. You know what I'm saying? This motherfucker doing this, got this shit going on. Okay, cool. So,
And
you
for
know,
me,
so
and for
now, so now you gotta go, you know, ask a question. What the fuck is this? Fuck is this
I'm
about? And let them
I'm
explain it.
saying no, right? So and I like what you said, right? Because I had to think about it because I don't go through my wife's phone, but I do use her phone, like, and vice versa. Um, just like you said, right? Like
Word, word,
um,
word.
and and for me, I made a decision when I realized that the level of access that we had. I told myself that I'm not going through her phone looking for nothing other than what I'm looking for. And
That's what you stick to. That's the code you stick by.
that's what I stick to.
I'm on that. You know,
I stick
don't go looking for no shit you ain't ready to find. You know what I'm saying? So like, I mean,
to.
and a lot of times though, but like as long as you don't have trust issues, you know what I'm saying?
Correct.
Like
Correct.
when I'm saying like your insecurities, you know, are in check, and you know, and then that person isn't giving you any signs to lead to believe that something is
That's
going on.
that's true. Yeah.
You know, so if those two things are in check, then yeah, then I mean it's nothing but smooth sailing. It ain't no need to be all, you know. But if you should happen to stumble across some shit, whether it be, you know, whatever to shoot a foot on, you know, then of course, then the other person is gonna need to do some goddamn explaining
Let's
about something.
go gadget time.
Somebody gonna need to explain something,
Hell yeah. I feel you. I feel
you
you.
know, because you know, I get how you was talking about to respond. I think I think that is what happens when it's just like, you know, men and women have this perspective now, this social perspective. Oh, I'm just fucking anyway. When shit is casual, you know.
When shit is said to be casual.
Yeah, you know, they got feelings, of course, because they keep going back to the bullshit that they say that they ain't that they done with, but they keep going, they keep dealing with it because you got feelings. Okay. Now most of the time the dude just probably just still smashing because the woman's allowing it. That's it. But he done already moved on. She haven't mentally moved on. That's why she's still allowing them her
Would you
body.
would you say Kanye said like he realized after 2 months that he didn't want to make babies with this chick, but because she was still allowing it, he was still
No, because he didn't realize that he was the one who was allowing her to have access to him.
That's true. That's true. That's 100% true.
Because if I see the signs already and it's like, nah, I ain't doing this, like I've been in a relationship that was bad, you know what I'm saying? And I got pretty far in far stages. You got a card in the mail, you know what I'm saying? but I realized like, nah, like I'm not gonna do this. And when I realized I'm not gonna do that, it wasn't no sex, it wasn't no nothing. It wasn't nothing. It wasn't nothing.
Yeah.
Because I realized, oh yeah, your thing-a-lang can make you get caught up. Because you doing that, then you can still have a baby. Now you stuck with this person you already realized you didn't want to have a baby with.
For life.
You know what I'm saying? For life.
2 months in.
2 months in. Now you stuck with this
You
person.
knew that you ain't want to be with this person for
You
life.
knew you ain't want to do it. They showed you something. They showed you something that you obviously you ain't believe it.
You ain't believe what you yeah.
Obviously you ain't believe it.
And that's what happens, right? When you let when you go from natural to spiritual.
Yeah.
You didn't believe the reality. You just let go and let God. And
let go and let God, right? Oh man, it's just crazy. So
that's funny.
continuing the conversation, guys. Let's go to our third question this evening. We are smoking on the word explain, y'all. Make sure to like and share the video. Also subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. So when we go live, you never miss an episode of Cigar Sundays Live. I hope y'all enjoying the show. And don't forget to share your answers to our questions in the comment section below. Our third question this evening: what is the significance of the word explain when attempting positive communication? What is the significance of the word explain when attempting positive communication?
Yeah, I think the question for me, that my answer for three would be the same as for one. The opportunity for consideration. Um, when you talk about explaining for positivity, like that is strictly edifying. I like what you said about when you're teaching somebody, um, and that's what you are when you are explaining, whether you are a teacher or not. Like I said, if you have the answer and somebody's asking you, um, that's what it is, right? So, make it understand and understood. That's it, guy. Like it's like I think we've been talking about that this all evening, right? The positive effects of explaining, and it really is just to make things clear,
Right.
right? Like it's so simple. Like even the definitions wasn't even long-winded. You know what I'm saying? Like they was very to the point. Um,
Yeah.
so the significance is great. Um, poor explanations lead to further misunderstandings, and misunderstandings could possibly lead to violence and uh, breaking up of relationships that may not needed to have fallen apart, right? We may just needed a better a better explanation,
Right.
right? Or and maybe not better, is not the right word. I'm gonna use the word expounded upon, right? We needed more of an explanation,
We needed to explain.
right? and maybe that might have been more beneficial, but because it was either rejected or denied, what you got was what you got, and it's like whatever it is whatever it is, and that's it. And relationships fall apart, and we just really just need a little bit more consideration, right? So yeah, that's what I think. I think opportunity for consideration is the significance, right, you know.
No doubt. The opportunity for
Consideration.
consideration. Yeah, I do. I wrote that down earlier, guy, when you said that, because I think that like that hit the nail on the head when it came to explain, being an opportunity for consideration. And when you lead into the significance of it, um, I also take from that learning now that, that even the how has an effect on the significance, how it's presented, you know, um, and that too, the how, the presentation of it is part of that opportunity for consideration. It's all encompassing. It's just kind of like breaking down the consider what things does that look like? What things do we do to exemplify that consideration? So we try to be understanding. We try to um, articulate our things in a way that they can be received. We try to make sure that our energy is in a space to where it doesn't compromise the resolve of the communication, and that's like what that look like. Somebody might be like, what you mean? Well, sometimes people get upset initially when things happen and they need some time to just go, or like the guy said, sometimes people need to process. And that looks different because sometimes people don't know how to explain things, the way it may be perceived. They kind of worried about their delivery of it too. So everybody has to consider everybody.
That's why you said it was a nail on the head, because everybody got to consider each other and everybody.
Yeah. They have to, the person, explaining might have to consider the person asking, where are they coming from with their acts? Did that person present their acts in a loving way? Did they present their acts in a way that will make you feel offended? Did they, or did they present it with concern, with like, hey, like, what I'm saying? I'm not going to be offended no matter what you say. I'm actually trying to get resolve. I'm actually trying to improve possibly our communication or our relationship or whatever it is that they explaining about. But the other person has to also, like we said,
Yeah, but it's serious.
consider.
It's serious.
They have to do both of those things. So yeah. That's the nail in the head right there, though. Opportunity for consideration when it comes to explain. What is the significance of the word explain when attempting positive communication? The significance, the Cigarden Panel is going to say it's an opportunity for consideration. And what that looks like to you is, what do you do to consider things when you're in situations when you may have to explain, or when you're in a situation where other people, where you are requesting others to explain something to you? What's your level of consideration? And I think that we all learn through it, because you may actually think that you're being considerate on both ends,
But yeah, facts.
you know?
Which is why consideration is so important, because most people thinking that they are already being considerate, and if you're already thinking that, chances are you're not,
Not
right?
always, though. You could
That's
check the
that's that's,
boxes.
that's why I say chances are. You know,
Yeah, but you can check the box, though. You
right.
can, I think you can absolutely check a box, and then the other person still just may not be comfortable,
And that's a box.
you know?
And
The
that's a
other
box.
person still may not be comfortable. They may not want to answer that question. They may not want to share that information. They may not want to explain, you know, their reason, or their like, whether they like it, whether it's a reason, whether it's a excuse, whether it's a,
Mm.
you know, negative or positive. They just, why we gotta talk about that? That may be, they don't even want to address it. So people have things like that too. I've witnessed that in some situations where people just have things they just don't even want to talk about. It's like, wow, okay. I usually get to a point, but everything's open on the table. Everything's always open on the table. So yeah, y'all, tonight we've been smoking on the word explain. And we had 3 questions this evening that we went over. Our first question was, what do you think of when you hear the word explain? We exchanged some insights in relation to our first question, and we encourage you to exchange your insights down in the comment section. Our second question was, what are some pros and cons to the word explain? We also gave some very insightful pros and cons, and we had a very good discussion about that. So we encourage you also to leave some insights in the comment section about what are some of your pros and cons to the word explain. And our third and final question this evening was, what is the significance of the word explain when attempting positive communication? And the Cigarden Panel collectively agreed that one of the major key significance of the word explain when attempting positive communication is the opportunity for consideration. Let us know what you think down in the comment section. We appreciate it. Also, don't forget to check out the merch links, and follow us on our social media, BK Soul Farm and DBCHEFTV, across all social media platforms. And we have come to that time in the show. The guy Ali Dawu L at BK Soul Farm. Is the word explain bad, good, or misunderstood? What you got, God?
I like it. I like it. I think it's a good word. I think it's only misunderstood because people be in their feelings and not being honest. But in truth and in all totality, the word in itself is only meant to bring the truth, right? So, and what they say, the truth shall set you free. So, um, I like it. It's good for me all the time.
Absolutely.
Except for when Karens are asking.
Except for when Karen's asking. Then it's fuck your explanation.
No, I'm saying.
Don't ask me shit. I ain't got shit for you. I ain't got to explain nothing. Yeah. But I also share those sentiments tonight about the word explain. Is it bad, good, or misunderstood? I think that explain is really one of the best words probably ever created in human existence, because without it, Like we literally communicate. Everybody's always explaining, you know, like I don't think people realize how much we explain everything, you know, things to make plain or understandable, you know, to make known, to give the reason or cause for, to show logical development or relationships of, you know, so everything has to be explained all the time. So we're constantly doing that. So I believe that the word is definitely good because you know, we have to work on it though too. I understand that communication is a thing. You know, communication is one of the key parts of explaining. So we have to work on our communication, and that encompasses explaining things, not feeling, managing our feelings and our emotions when it comes to being asked certain things that, you know, people want to get some type of explanation to. So, or that requires some type of explanation. So definitely, the misunderstood part. Yeah, I don't know how many people actually even have actually looked up the word explain. You know?
Yeah.
Because people just so casually, you know, just use it daily in daily activity, and people don't really pay attention to it.
I think it's because of what you just said, because we do it all the time.
Because we do it all the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's constant, you know. What you do when you woke up this morning, you got to explain to me. You know, so it can become positive. It can be, why the fuck is you doing that? You know, or you don't got no business doing that, right? Because the delivery, right? The delivery, right? Why the fuck is you doing it? You going to shoot back, right? Okay. But you don't have no business doing that. Okay, now what? But some people still take that as, you don't have no business telling me what I don't have no business doing. So, you know, that's why I said it's touchy with the delivery, because you could think that you're being polite. You could actually think that you're being considerate, but it is totally not received that way. So that's why the misunderstood part remains, you know, but overall, explain is a good word. And and you know, like we say, we're not the gurus. You know, if you be smoking on something that you like, pick it up, have a smoke. If not, you know, leave something in the ashtray for somebody else. And we want to get better at explaining. You know, this is all new to us. We don't look up these words. Like we said before we do the show, we come on here and we get to explain it. You know, that's what we do, and have fun with it like we did this evening. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Make sure to have a peaceful, positive, and productive start to your week. And we'll see y'all next time right here on Cigar Sundays Live, 8 p.m. Sundays, East Coast time. I am Chef Earl Pearl at DBCHEFTV, always with the God, Ali, Dawu El, and BK Soul Farm.
Hey.
And we are the Cigarden Panel. Peace, God.
Peace, God. This whole publication is all about going from nowhere to somewhere, right? Being able to stand on something so that you can travel in peace, right? So bksoulfarm.com, 1016 160 self-sustainability. Jump on a list and get yourself together, right? Because it is irresponsible to not even know what responsibility means. So get yourself together, food, clothing, and shelter, protection of that, support your interests, and live.
Exchange insights Sundays at 8 p.m. East Coast time with the Cigarden Panel, smoking on words like two big nerds, hosted by DBCHEFTV and BK Soul Farm at Cigar Sundays on YouTube. Subscribe and hit the notification bell so when they go live, you never miss an episode of Cigar Sundays Live.
Sign up for the newsletter and shop merch and clothing at www.dbcheftv.com.